Welcome to another episode of the And Then We Grow podcast. I'm Summer Walker. So I want to dive right into the topic, thought shifting and emotional regulation. I always talk about tools for better living, things that we figure out work well for us, processing, regulating our emotions, bringing us back to center. This is something that I work on every single day. And that's the thing about thought shifting and emotional regulation. It's something that takes deliberate effort all the time. And that can seem overwhelming. We have a tendency to sit in thoughts that don't make us feel good. And I know we're often told, feel the things, process your feelings, process your emotions. And I get it. But there's also value in shifting from the thing, in shifting from emotions that don't make you feel great. I call it reframing. I'm sure you've heard the term before. It's when you have an experience, the thought of that experience makes you feel a certain way, and you're able to reframe what the experience really is so that you feel differently. I'll give you an example. So recently I ended a relationship. The relationship lasted about 9 months. It was abrupt. It wasn't something I expected. Because this is a relationship that I can honestly say has been one of my best relationships. Feeling cared for, feeling loved, feeling considered. This was an experience that really set a bar in terms of how I want to feel in a relationship. So when it ended, I was not emotionally prepared for it. There was a lot of reassurance during the relationship, checking in that we're emotionally on the same page, that the connection is there, that what I'm feeling is also being felt by him. Actions and the words were matching. The initial shock, like I said, was heartbreak, but I was able to sit with that for a second, and then I started to shift my thoughts. I couldn't go from heartbreak to, okay, I'm fine, I'm happy. That's unrealistic, it's unreal, it isn't sustainable. But I could shift from heartbreak to hopeful. How can I look at this situation so I don't feel so bad and I'm still able to appreciate what this experience did for me and meant to me? That shift looked like, it's unfortunate that it ended, but what a beautiful 9 months we shared. And that was God's honest truth. I showed up in ways that I'm very proud of, in ways that I hadn't shown up previously in relationships. So I was able to make sure the growth was really there. A lot of times you don't know what you want until you experience a certain thing. And there was a level of care and consideration about how I was feeling, about what I needed, that was just consistent for that time. So for me, that's a requirement moving forward. It doesn't get worse. It only gets better. It being over can hurt, but we can also focus on the lessons or the things that we got out of the relationship that made it worthwhile. Now, ultimately, I don't feel like I took a loss personally, because there are some things in terms of character and integrity that are super, super important to me. And even to frame that, this is where grace comes in. My ex ended up rekindling a relationship with his ex-wife. Would I have preferred to know that that was something he was working on in the background? Sure, that would have been ideal for me. We didn't have to go look for rings. We didn't have to travel to each other. I didn't have to come to family reunions. We could have had conversations about human feelings, relational things that I very well understand. But the grace part is some people don't have the capacity for that. And I am not excusing it, but what I am saying is more than one thing can be true. A person can love you and care about you and handle a situation shitty. That's another perspective shift. Because guess what? I've mishandled people in relationships too. There has been a time where I was selfish and I didn't consider the other person's feelings. So while it hurts, it's also human and relatable. While I really wish it had gone differently in terms of being made aware of the shift in feelings, I get that people do what they have the ability to do. They do what they have within them to do. And that just wasn't within him. So ultimately, I don't feel like I took a loss. Like I feel like I had a beautiful learning experience. The other reframe is really think about who you are. Sometimes we'll be in a relationship and things will be good and we'll decide this is the ceiling of good. When really, if you look at it, it's good, but it could be better. there could be more. You could connect on even more levels with the person. So I have not convinced myself that that was as good as it gets for me, not me. That might be as good as it gets for some people, but for me, for the rarity of me, I definitely require character and integrity and emotional awareness. The things that I've been working on, I value and I want to experience in a partner, even knowing that I was hurt, knowing that I was lied to. When I tell you, I think back with them 9 months and I think to myself, baby, we had a time. You hear me? We had a time. I enjoyed that. The dinners, the trips, the intimacy, the connection, the conversation. I know how I'm supposed to feel in a relationship. Now, the next time, I don't expect to be, taken for a ride, but I can look at it and see the beauty of it. And that's how we regulate our emotions as well. We really focus on the lesson or the thing that we appreciate about the experience. That's how we calm ourselves down. That's how we soothe our hearts. Understanding that life happens and that things are unfortunate and that we keep going. That's where I want my energy to be. That's what makes me feel good. And it's true. It's not something I'm just saying to make myself feel good. It's the absolute truth. I don't feel like I wasn't loved. Because what I know about me is you're not going to experience me and there not be love, because I am loved. I feel like sometimes you can't compete with history, and I'm not a person that's interested in doing so anymore. So the takeaway here is think about a different story when you're going through things that are really heavy. You're not trying to shift from brokenness to the best thought you ever had in your life or the best feeling you ever had in your life. That's not possible. You can't get there from there. So what can you shift to mentally that makes you feel just a little bit better? And in those increments, you get a little bit better. You get a little bit better. Your chest hurts a little bit less. And you ease yourself into emotional wellness. You ease yourself into healing. You ease yourself into getting over and getting through. Because I'm sure by now we can all attest to the fact that life is going to life. There are going to be situations that we don't like, that we prefer not to have. But we have to figure out the best ways to navigate. And I learned a while ago, I can't sit in it for long. That's not safe for me. I was a person that was a prisoner to my emotions. They debilitated me. They took me under. The waves were really, really intense. And I didn't always think I was going to make it. So now I figured out ways to continue living, to continue growing, to continue thriving. There's an ease and flow here that I figured out, that I'm leaning into. And I invite you to do the same. So I want you to think about the situation that you've been grappling with, or when you think about it, it feels kind of heavy. And then I want you to actively shift into, what am I learning here? Have I gotten through tough things like this before? Have I proven to myself that I'm resilient? This is going to be okay. I've gotten through things before. If you've gone through a breakup, there are better options for me in the world. Even being alone or being in solitude feels good. It feels like peace. Reach for better feeling thoughts. That's the takeaway. What we know for sure is that life happens and then we grow.